It'll be a lovely feeling to be backstage with Andriana. We've been backstages before, and we know that feeling of looking at each other and getting each other excited to get out there and begin.
I would say the bulk of my job takes me to places around the world, and so to come back home to Winnipeg and sing for family and friends and my Winnipeg home audience is always special.
I think even having one of these artists on stage would be this tremendous gift, but to have both of them together, it's just astonishing.
We're very lucky they live in Winnipeg, and we are able to get them to come and sing with us.
To come home, it's just the most heartwarming feeling. It's something extra compared to other audiences that I get to perform for, and it kind of centers you into why we do this and why am I doing this. It's for the people I love. It's for this feeling. To come home.
Beautiful. Would you consider trying that in a dynamic that takes us to the dynamic that's just after that, which is piano?
Yeah.
I think that the teaching is good for a singer, a performer, because it keeps us true to our word. And it makes me constantly, daily, I'm looking at the score and looking down, and then I go back to one of my scores and I remind myself that the work that I did, I have to do again and make it fresh and new. So my students keep me on my toes, and I learn so much from them, as much as they learn from me, I hope. Not just technique, but interpretation. And I've realized over the years how much is rolling around in my head, and it's just lovely to share it with people who are as passionate about it as I am. I was born and raised in Winnipeg, and my family, I'm the fourth in four girls, and everybody sings, everybody's musical, but my eldest sister seemed to notice that I had something unique or special, and so did my elementary music teacher. And so she got me involved in dinner theater, and I did that. So it started off really young, that was something that I seemed to be very good at.
So I was just most recently in Omaha, Nebraska, with Opera Omaha. We just did I Capuletti e Montecchi by Bellini, and I played Giulietta, which is Bellini's version of Romeo and Juliet, so I played Juliet.
I met Andriana when she was 16 years old. She came to hear me do a lecture at the University of Manitoba, and I had my newborn son with me. Little did she know that by 4 years or 5 years' time, she was going to be a nanny to my sons.
I would say the opera bug started hitting me maybe in my second or third year of university, and I saw Tracy. In my first year, I think I saw her as Rosina in Barber of Seville here in Manitoba. And I think it was in my second or third year I saw her do Lucia de Lammermoor. And when I saw her do Lucia at Manitoba Opera, I think it kind of changed my world and my life in terms of I was just fascinated to watch her and see what opera can be.
So this is the G minor. I feel like I'm the interpreter between Tracy and Andriana and the orchestra. So I meet them before we even rehearse with the orchestra, and we go through the works that they're doing and we talk about how we're going to approach them, so that by the time we get into orchestra rehearsal, we know what we want, and it's my job to convey that to the orchestra in as efficient a way possible.
Before we start a contract, it is expected of us as singers to be completely memorized and off book, so that we're just ready to rehearse and get right in there. And of course, refer back to our scores and whatnot.
You have to be 110% ready to go so that you can kind of keep going and taking in all that information. You're not still trying to figure out things on your own. So you've done all your technical work beforehand. All of that is done so that you can receive new information, because there'll be a lot of new information in those 2 rehearsals, 2-3 rehearsals we get before we do the concert.
It's part of our job to be adaptable and to be malleable, in the sense that, oh, I heard it in this tempo, and the conductor might say, oh, I hear it a little faster, a little slower, and you just sort of adapt, and you know the music well, and you are able to do that fairly easily and quickly. It's just part of the job. And it actually is quite fun to hear what different people think about certain pieces of music. That's part of the collaboration.
Tracy Dahl and Andriana Chuchman are incredibly known internationally. I think it's partly because both of these artists collectively have performed on virtually every major opera stage in the world. I started writing Music Matters in January 2014, which just coincidentally was Andriana Chuchman's debut at the Metropolitan Opera. And I remember this quite magical interview we had, because there she is in New York City. She had just got the word that she was going to be going on stage. So she was very excited, and of course she received rave reviews from New York Times, and it just went from there. Tracy Dahl is Canada's premier coloratura soprano. She's also a Winnipeg treasure, but she has this incredible voice that is going strong. She can do it all. She can do it all, and is still doing it all.
Well, being with your colleagues, and in this case, a colleague that I've known since she was 16. So we've got a relationship that goes far beyond a musical one. We're friends and colleagues, and we have been teacher and student. So it will just be fun. It'll be nice to be up there with someone you feel comfortable with.
I was about 17 when I started with Tracy, and her son at that time was about just under a year. And so every time I would come to Tracy's house and have a lesson, there would always be another student there. So I would go into the playroom and play with her older son. And we just kind of developed this little relationship, this little bond. And I think Tracy saw that and said, oh, She sort of would see if I would be able to babysit. And then a couple of years later, her second son came along and we developed a bond and we would always play together. And so once I graduated, Tracy had asked if I would like to kind of go on the road with her and nanny her boys for various contracts. We became family almost.
This particular duet is a little bit more balanced. It's a little bit more one repeating the other. We are in thirds with each other, but it's a little bit higher, so we're both in a friendlier register for both of us. I think the funny thing about it is that you would never ever hear either one of us say the things we're going to say to each other. It's a complete opposite to what our relationship really is. So, I think that's what will be quite funny, is to actually look at her and be able to say those things with a straight face. I hope the audience goes home joyful, that they feel uplifted, elevated, that they've shed some of the heaviness of the season or their day or their lives and found some joy in this beautiful music.
I really want them to just feel like they can decompress and escape from any hustle and bustle or hardships or busyness of life and work and family and everything, and just take that time for themselves to enjoy and to relax. Our goal is to take this beautiful music and give it to everybody. We want to give this gift of beautiful music to this beautiful audience that gives us the energy and excitement to perform.